to the early 90s. You know, how to deal with the knife, according to Hickson. But again, it was with the Gracies, Eric, it was self-defense. It wasn't points. They didn't give a rat's.
And when did that change?
Which one?
The self-defense to tournament competition.
That's the seniors, Carlson Gracie Sr. and Grandmaster Helio Gracie. That's what somewhat put a wedge between the family.
Mm.
Carlson Gracie Sr., who died in Chicago with a simple operation. He died on the operating floor, or table. But he saw the commercial stream, the revenue of jiu-jitsu. After Hoist won, Carlson Gracie Sr. was still alive. And when he died, then his son, Junior, who's a phenomenal jiu-jitsu guy, took over. But see, that Grandmaster Helio, he wasn't about points. He was about, because he learned from the Japanese, right, self-defense. He didn't know about points. If I take you down, who says it's 3 points, 2 points, what? Who makes that call? The International Jiu-Jitsu Federation, who makes that? So my background with Hickson was self-defense. What do you do? And he continues. You know, he has Parkinson's disease.
Hickson does?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I watched him yesterday, I watched him doing a seminar, and he's, my friend, you go here, and you see his hand going like this.
Mm.
I go, oh, man. Yeah.
So he's young. He's what, 50?
He's in his mid to late 50s.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but you don't know.
About when it starts kicking in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was watching, he was talking, he was sitting on and you see his hands shaking. I know. But he was a phenomenal talent. You just couldn't, and when you rolled with Hickson, you couldn't feel him, you couldn't hear him, he would whisper to you, I told you, Steve, I'm going to do armbar your left arm, and you can't do a thing about it. So you put that arm down here and put it underneath you.
He'd get it.
He'd get it. Absolutely. He was phenomenal talent. And I enjoyed the relationship with working with him. Then a guy named Rodriguez Vaghi. Vaghi was a black belt. He came into St. Louis saying he was a black belt under Hickson, but actually he was a black belt under Hoyler.
Why would he change that?
Prestige. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Hickson called me and said, Steve, I want you to train with Rodriguez Vaghi. No, I'm not going to do that. Because Vaghi taught from the bench. He wouldn't get on the mat with you. And he'd say, you need to put your arm over here. You need to bump your hip here, please. And you need to, no. You learn by the clinch, by the fight. He didn't do that. By doing, yeah. So I got more involved with Wellington, Megaton Diaz. Because Meg was a small guy. Again, Hickson wasn't very big. But I learned more technique from a small guy than a big like Machado's. Carlos Machado gave me my purple belt. Really good. And he's the smallest and I think the oldest of the brothers.
Yes.
But he's the smallest one. And he gave me my purple. But you have to get engaged. You have to clinch with your opponent, with your partner. And I was always taught from Hickson and Hoyler that always start in your worst position. Your worst. Side control, mount, in the guard, that's where you want to start.
Back control.
Absolutely. That's where, yeah. Okay, I got you. Now I'm choking. Now what are you going to do? So that's what Hickson emphasized is work out of your worst position. But in the day, the family decided to, Grandmaster Helio's family and Carlson, they split up, commercialized.
And that sounds like it was over a philosophy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And again, you had like 25 Gracie Jiu-Jitsu males because they're all about sharing the wealth and everybody was a Gracie. And they go to tournaments and they'd fight each other. depend upon, again, the philosophy of who's going to, if it's self-defense, but you're in a tournament, who's going to get 3 points versus 2 points? But that's how they split up over that mindset. And again, that mindset is what I got my rank under, self-defense. So, and combine that with stand-up. So, and you try and train those. And as you well know, all that stuff in this market is difficult to find a school that offers all that under one roof. It's not easy. So,
Yeah.
Because, Eric, I'll tell you, we give rank at Drew's school.
Mm-hmm.
How do you give rank when you don't teach gi? You're giving rank with the guy in the gi. But I don't know gi. How do you give rank? Is it just longevity on the mat? Is it skill set? I've never, in my MMA guys, and I'm a fourth degree black belt. Have you ever had a gi on? No? Okay.
Seems that more, from what I've seen, the MMA path seemed to attract the younger crowd a lot. I don't know if it's because there's more. I don't know if it's the money, because there's not money in much. There's some if you get to the top.
Yeah, you got to be on a certain level.
Yeah, and because I've seen almost not all, but most BJJ gyms have a MMA aspect to it.
Yeah,
which means you do no gi.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you're going to have to, again, commercialize. You're going to have to offer that. Because that's where, like you said, because every weekend we're watching MMA stuff.
Right.
There's no gis. Hoist doesn't come out and say, okay, let's go. Not anymore. But at the same time, don't use a jiu-jitsu belt to promote non-gi individuals. Come up with something else.
Okay.
Yeah. Something else that they put in, they know the skill, they can teach the skill, and again, putting in their time and effort. Yeah, but don't put on a gi and say, yeah, you're a Brazilian jiu-jitsu or a jiu-jitsu blue belt. Congratulations. In a MMA type school, 80-20, how do you justify that? Time served? Okay, I can understand that. As long as everybody realizes that, okay. But the gi and no gi, you can't do both.
Was there no gi in Sambo?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Jay and I go to tournaments and nobody would roll with us. We go to karate tournaments, man, and we'd sit up there patiently to the karate tournament to be over. And all these guys are getting the arm raised. And then at the end of the tournament, they have open sparring. Jay, did you hear? They got open sparring. Okay. None of us they wouldn't roll with us at all. No, because they don't know. They don't know this. They know this.
Mm-hmm.
No. But what happens when you do this great kick, thrust kick, roundhouse, and it doesn't affect me, and now we're here. We're not here. Now what are you going to do? Well, it's hits the fan then. So, but after about 2 or 3 times, they wouldn't let us
compete.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
we're trying to help them understand that this is real life. It's not going to. You're going to bounce around in your and they look good. I was watching them last night. They look good bouncing around and stuff. They got their foot here but you kick somebody and they have that kick. Because I just absorbed it, I now have my around your ankle, and that pressure you feel, that hurts. And if you don't do something pretty quick, I'm going to loop this elbow around it, and I'm going to take your ankle out and tear you up your knee.
Right.
You better do something. Might want to tap. So.
Yeah, but going back to the, I guess you kind of addressed this other question I had. So what has changed? And in BJJ, what happened to BJJ was MMA.
Yeah.
Because they put that together.
Commercial.
Well, yeah, because there's money there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they took a lot of, a lot of BJJ principles, particularly the legs and stuff. I noticed the, ankle locks and heel hooks and all that. And then added punches and kicks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a different art. It's kind of a different martial art at that point.
Yeah, it's kind of just,
It's an MMA.
It's open mat. Whatever goes, except I can't hit you in the groin and I can't bite you. Other than that, we're going to bring it. Mm-hmm. And if you recall in Royce's earlier days, he used his gi. He did a lot of stuff because Shamrock didn't have a gi on.
Right.
He went out there and he's going to do this. And Ken was a big guy. And his brother was a big guy too. Yeah. They were some badass guys. Ken's like, just clinch, reach around, grab my collar, choke. I think it separated things more. Because again, MMA, the growth and the spike of MMA. Not so much the spike of jiu-jitsu, self-defense, or with a gi. Now there's some schools, I think Hill and Gracie, that Craig doesn't have a no gi class down here. He is under Hill and Gracie, which is old school Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So he is required pretty much to, they'll do tournament stuff, get prepared, but a lot of his stuff is self-defense. So I'll see him at church, or I'll go to one of his classes and sit there and talk to him and ask him, is there anything you want to see, anything I can help you with that's going to make you or your students better? Because as you well know, I don't roll hard anymore. I do one thing and try and help and improve somebody else. That's all I'm here for. I've been tapped by a lot of people, both the Machados and the Gracies. And it's no big deal to get tapped. It's, with my rank, I'm not there to tap anybody because it does nothing for me. Nothing. If I could show that their technique is not the most productive, where they open themselves up and I can say, you don't want to put your hand here, this is why. I'll cut off your carotid. Or like when they do triangles and there's a big gap between my leg and your carotid here, and I'm telling them, there can't be any gaps. There's no, you have to control, as you and I talked, I have to control the space. And when you throw your leg over and you go into the figure 4 of the triangle and there's this much gap between your thigh and your carotid, it's not going to happen. That's got to get shoved up there. And you got to control that space because you don't need the arm to tap somebody in a triangle. You throw that leg over, squeeze that together, extend your hips, and their whole face will turn red and purple. They're out. But you got to understand that, and you try and pass that along to somebody and say, hey, look at it this way, or try this. Shift your hip. Move your leg in and around his carotid and see what happens. Or, because we've talked, side control. Mm-hmm. I got to have my knee up against your hip, and if I can get it at an angle, all the better. However, if I don't have the armpit controlled, or me, because I like to drive it up to the ear, all I got to do is oopa, and I'm out. Got to control the space. And some of these guys don't get that. But it's the same thing, even without a gi.
Yeah.
When you start learning how to close and control. So
nice. I'm going to stop here.
Yeah.